Welcome to me and my uncle.
NFL Weekly Rundown, Week 10. Danny, it's good to see you once again. Back at it, another week of picks. Well, which games should we focus on? Let's talk about one that you'll be happy about, the Sunday night game between the Colts and Vikings.
Oh, yeah, that was a pretty good game. But
Purple got the win.
Um,
Did you see the touchdown that the Colts got in the first half where they kind of bopped Darnold's face and forced a fumble and then ran it back for a touchdown?
oh, yeah, I saw that.
And they didn't call a flag on the Colts guy for hitting Darnold in the face, and they could have. And it was the second week in a row that Darnold got hit in the face because he got face masked on a play against the Rams that was a huge play. And then it happened.
What happened?
The Vikings were losing by 6 at the end of the game, and he got sacked in the end zone, but it was a face mask. So instead of the Vikings getting a 15-yard penalty on the Rams, it ended up being 2 points for the Rams, a 2-point safety.
Wow.
So the Vikings really got hosed on that call. And then for it to happen again against the Colts, it wasn't as bad, but he still hit Darnold in the face. And then the Colts got a touchdown on it. So the Vikings got a little unlucky, but then they turned it on. Darnold had 3 turnovers, but then he had 3 touchdowns in the second half. So they got the win, right?
Yeah. Wait, if that touchdown didn't count, what was their score?
The Vikings won 21-13. So that was the only touchdown the Colts got.
So 13 minus 7 equals.
Got it?
Oh, 6.
You got it. It would have been 2 field goals was all they got. Yep. Now on a worse note, the Chicago Bears visit to the desert did not go well, did it?
No.
Yikes. I mean, Kyler Murray didn't even really have to do anything because the Cardinals ran up and down the field for 200 some yards.
Yeah.
It was sickening. It made me ill.
Are you feeling better now?
I'm feeling a little bit better. Yeah, at least about the Bears, I'm feeling a little better. So, and then we talked a little bit before we got on air, Baltimore. That game was on TV against the Broncos. Lamar Jackson just whooped them, didn't they?
Yeah. What was the score again?
41-10. So, real beatdown.
Wonder how my Uncle Tim is feeling.
Oh, and do you know who they play this week? Kansas City.
Oh, yeah.
Ooh, ouch, Uncle Tim. He could be in for another rough week. Let's talk about the picks, whether we won or lost our picks last week.
I did pretty bad, I'm guessing.
You went 9-6, which isn't terrible, but it was one of your worst weeks.
What are the games that I got wrong?
Yeah, you got Houston lost to the Jets. That was surprising.
Oh, yeah, on Halloween.
Yeah, you picked the Dolphins, and they played close against the Bills, but they lost by 3. You picked the Saints against the Panthers, and the Panthers won that one.
Did you also pick the Saints on that one?
I did, yeah. You picked the Cowboys to beat Atlanta, and they lost. You picked the Patriots to beat the Titans, and that was kind of a who knows. Titans ended up winning by 3. And
what was the score?
20-17, Titans. And then you picked the Bears to beat Arizona. Yeah. So I only missed the Texans-Jets game. I picked Cleveland to beat the Chargers. Oops. And I picked the Saints to beat the Panthers. So I only lost 3 games. So I made a little bit of a lead on you now. I've got 5 more wins than you do.
Yikes.
But against the point spread, even though you had a rough week against the point spread, you only went 5-8.
Am I still winning?
Yeah, you still have a 9-game lead over me.
Okay, so I'm doing good.
Pretty solid against the point spread. And you could still catch me just picking the winners. So I see a pretty good Thursday night game to kick off the week.
Bengals Ravens.
Yeah, since he's 4-5, their 4 wins have come against the Panthers, Giants, Browns, and Raiders. not very good teams. They really haven't beat a good
With
team
the
yet.
Bengals?
Those are their 4 wins, yeah, against those lousy teams. Burrow had 5 touchdown passes against Vegas and looked good. Baltimore.
Did they win?
Yeah, they beat Vegas 41-24. So it was pretty easy. Baltimore is now 6-3 after they beat down the Broncos, your Uncle Tim's Broncos, 41-10. Bo Nix looked like a rookie again. Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry just continue to get it done. And their defense played better than they have been. What are your feelings about this? You're in your Chase jersey, but then the Ravens are your Super Bowl pick. So I could see you being a little torn by this one. If you remember, these teams played week 5, and the Ravens won 41-38 in overtime.
Well, I'm picking Ravens.
Your Super Bowl team from the AFC, okay.
21-17.
So a close game. I'm gonna go with the Ravens too, 30-23 over Cincinnati, and that could be. I mean, if they fall to 4-6, the Ravens are gonna have the Bengals are gonna have a hard time to make the playoffs. I think. Okay, this game is in Germany at 8:30 in the morning, our time. Germany, yeah. So they had a couple games in London. They had one game in Brazil the first week. That was between the Packers and Eagles.
Oh.
And then this, which looks like a really ugly game, but the Germans get to enjoy what game?
Panthers and Giants.
Yeah, the Giants battled, but they lost at home against Washington. Carolina got a surprise win against the Saints. And you know what happens to your coach if you lose to the Panthers?
What?
You fire them, because that's what the Saints did after the Panthers beat them. Both these teams have 2 wins and 7 losses. So in a battle of
Horrible teams.
horrible NFC teams, it could be a close game at least, but I don't think these teams are good. What do you see unfolding in Germany?
I'm picking the Giants.
G-Men. I got the Giants too.
Actually, a 2-point win.
I got a 1-point win.
Giants 23, Panthers 21.
Okay, I'm in the same ballpark as you. I will take the Giants 20 and the Panthers 19. All right, the first game on Sunday is a game that 2 AFC West rivals will do battle. And your Uncle Tim may or may not enjoy what he sees.
Broncos Chiefs.
All right, like we said when we talked a little bit about the Ravens, Denver just got wasted by the Ravens, 10-41. The Broncos' solid defense was picked apart by Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry. And the Chiefs, once again, they get tested. Every team seems to give them their best. They get their best when they play anybody. Everybody's trying to beat the Chiefs. And they got the best from Tampa Bay on Monday night. And they pushed them and they pushed them. And the Chiefs ended up winning in overtime on a touchdown. 30-24. So they remain undefeated. Once again, Mahomes and Kelsey have a great game. Kelsey caught 14 passes for 100 yards.
Wow.
So I got Chiefs favored by 9. Is that what you see on your sheet?
Yeah.
Yeah, so people are expecting a pretty big blowout. What are you expecting?
I'm picking Chiefs.
Obviously, yeah, you gotta go with the Chiefs.
38-21.
17-point win. I've got a 13-point win. So again, we're in the same ballpark. I don't expect as many points though. I'm gonna go Chiefs 26, Bo Nix and the Denver Broncos 13. Okay, this is an exciting game between 2 teams that are leading their divisions.
Steelers and Commanders.
Yeah, Pittsburgh is leading the AFC North. They're coming off their bye week. And with 2 starts, with Russell Wilson as the quarterback, they've got 2 wins. Now, they came against both New York teams. Russell Wilson beat the Giants and the Jets, so not exactly the toughest competition. Washington, 7-2. Holy cow.
That's great.
Yeah, compared to where they were last year.
They were horrible last.
They were the second draft pick. You know, that's why they got
Now
Daniels.
They're
So,
great.
I mean, they are great at 7-2, and they actually made a really big move. The Saints traded them their best cornerback, Marcus Lattimore.
What? Who traded?
The Saints traded to the Commanders, Marcus Lattimore. And Lattimore is a guy who he has, like with Mike Evans, they have had epic battles where I think they both get tossed out of the game because they're fighting. But it's really always a great matchup because Lattimore is so good man up on a guy like Mike Evans. And Washington was not that good in their secondary, so they needed a cornerback. So them making a move like that means they are pushing all their chips in and saying, we are trying to win right now. We think we've got a chance, which is crazy to think. And Washington is only a half game up on the Philadelphia Eagles, who are right on their tail. So this is a big game for both teams. I've got the Commanders favored by 2.5 is what I show.
Yeah, I have 2.5.
The game's in Washington, so what are your thoughts on this really big game?
I have a close game.
And I have a close game too.
3-point win.
I got a 1-point win.
I'm picking Commanders
I kind of thought you would.
because of Jaden Daniels.
I'm sure.
My favorite quarterback.
Oh, now he's your favorite. Okay, straight to the top.
Yep. 31-28.
Okay. I kind of like the Commanders, even though they ripped my heart out when they beat the Bears. But I kind of think that Pittsburgh is just going to find a way. I think it's going to be T.J. Watt. I think it's going to be Mike Tomlin, their excellent head coach. I think he's going to.
Really good.
I think he's going to figure out a way to slow down Jaden Daniels. You're not going to stop him, just slow him down. I've got the Steelers 24, Commanders 23. I think it's going to be a good game, but we're different on our first game of the week.
Here's I won't say a good game.
But I'm sure you're excited about it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Vikings Jaguars.
Yeah, Darnold shook off those 3 turnovers, 3 second half touchdowns, and they get the win over the Colts. Jacksonville, Trevor Lawrence was bad at Philly. They had no running game at Philly, yet somehow they were actually competitive, and they only lost by 5 points. So I'm not really sure how the Jags managed to not get crushed by Philly, the way that their offense played, but they hung in there. So this game is in Jacksonville. I show Vikings by 4.5.
Yep.
What do you see? Who's going to be the stud for the Vikings? Did you see Hawkinson was back?
Oh yeah, he had a decent game.
For his first game back, I'd say yeah.
I'm picking Vikings because
Of course.
I was about to say 72, but 27-21.
Oh, almost the same as my score. I'm going to pick purple 27, not 72, 27. And we'll go Jaguars 20. So I'm only
Okay.
1 point different than you. AFC South showdown. One team pretty good. One team not so much.
Falcons Saints.
Atlanta 6-3. They're in first place in the NFC South, and they beat Dallas. Derek Carr came back for the Saints, and they still lost at Carolina.
Yeah.
Derek Carr is now the first quarterback to lose games to 31 of the 32 teams. And they play the Raiders later this season, who Derek Carr used to be the quarterback for.
Really?
Yep.
Oh.
If Derek Carr loses to the Raiders, he will be the first quarterback to lose to all 32 teams. Ever. So that's not really a record you'd like to beat.
Yeah.
But right now he's lost to all 31. Like I said, they traded their best cornerback and have lost 7 games in a row. So this game's in New Orleans. The Falcons are slim favorites.
Yeah, 3.5.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like a lot here. How do you see this game going down?
I'm picking Falcons.
Yeah, me too.
Falcons 23, Saints 21.
Okay. I'm going to have a little bit of a wider gap between the teams, but still within a possession. Falcons 24 and New Orleans Saints 16. Okay, this game, not the greatest records, but these teams were both playoff teams last year.
And one was in the Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
49ers, Buccaneers.
San Francisco, the big talk is this the week that Christian McCaffrey comes back? They said he's...
You hope so.
I hope so, from my fantasy standpoint. And the rumors are that he's expected to practice. Like, he's been given full clearance. You're ready to go. So I have put him in my lineup on my fantasy team.
Then I really want to see that game.
Yeah, this looks like a really great game. The 49ers are a half game behind Arizona in the NFC West, but it's really close.
6.5 win.
6.5 points.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. That's kind of a wide gap when you're playing on the road.
Yeah.
Tampa Bay, like we talked about when we talked about the Chiefs, man, they took Kansas City right down to the wire. They took them to overtime. You probably didn't see the coin toss. Mahomes won Mayfield lost the coin toss, so the Chiefs said, we'll take the ball. When Mayfield lost the coin toss, he just kind of went like, oh. Like, he knew that losing the coin toss and giving the ball to Mahomes was it. Like, that the game was over. Because the Chiefs just went right down the field and scored a touchdown. Mayfield never even got the ball. So, Mayfield's reaction was pretty classic, where he's just like, oh, come on. Like, if they won the coin toss, I'm sure he felt like, we'll go down and score and win the game.
They probably would have won the game if they won that coin toss.
That's the thing, is overtime oftentimes just comes down to a coin toss. And the thing about that game was the Buccaneers had an opportunity to go for a 2-point conversion when they scored a touchdown near the end of the game. Tampa Bay. They could have gone for 2 at the end of the game and tried to win it, but instead they just kicked it for 1 and played for overtime. So, like...
If they went for that 2-point conversion...
And gotten it...
They would have won.
Maybe. Mahomes still had like 25 seconds left.
To throw a Hail Mary.
Or to get in field goal range. So...
At football today at school, I was throwing a lot of Hail Marys.
Really?
And they were catching it.
Oh, any tipped like in the Bears game?
No.
No, straight catches right into the basket. Nice. So, getting back to this one, you said Niners favored by 6.5 as a road team in Tampa at noon. What you feeling?
This one I'm picking the 49ers. Either way, that game against the Chiefs went into overtime. 28-20.
Okay, so you've got the Niners covering the spread. I'm going to have the Bucks covering the spread, but I'm taking the Niners. I'll go 27-24 over the Bucks. Okay, I wouldn't say this is a great game, but it's a game between AFC teams.
Bills Colts.
Yep, Buffalo's 7-2, and now they have a 4-game lead over the Jets in the AFC East. That's a huge lead halfway through the season. They swept the Miami Dolphins on Sunday because they beat them week 2, and then they beat them again week 9. So they're sitting in good shape in the AFC East. And Indianapolis, their only touchdown all game long was on that fumble recovery against the Vikings. Mm-hmm. So it's like, does it really matter who your quarterback is?
Not even their offense scored.
No, and that's the thing. Remember, they pulled Richardson because he was so bad, so they started Joe Flacco.
Yeah.
And it's like, Flacco, Richardson, you're not getting any offense out of either guy.
Mm-hmm.
And Jonathan Taylor was kind of invisible against the Vikings. He didn't do a whole lot. I think he rushed for under 50 yards. So they're just not doing anything offensively. So the Bills are 4.5-point favorites, I think. Yeah. On the road in Indy.
I'm picking the Bills.
As am I.
Like I'm guessing that you were.
Yep.
Bills 27-21.
You gotta be kidding me. Buffalo 27-21. Okay, nice
So we
pick.
got same score.
Same score. Oh, and I forgot to tell you, Grandpa picked another exact score last week. Tennessee 20, New England 17. He nailed it.
Wow.
So shout
He's
out.
doing good.
Yeah, shout out to my dad. And he went 13-2 picking games last week, which is awesome. He did one game. Oh, he did better than me. No, he did a little worse than me against Point Spread
I
too.
hope we get this score right, because that would be good for both of us.
27-21. I haven't gotten an exact score right all year yet.
I
So
have one, right?
you have one and Grandpa has two. So if we were judging things by that, you'd be in second place behind Grandpa.
Now, here's a game I'm guessing you're going to want to see, and I'm going to want to see, and all the Bears fans will want to see.
Do I want to see it though? Boy, I hope I want to see it.
If you're picking the other team on this one, I'm going to be mad at you.
Okay.
Because
Well,
this isn't a good team.
I don't want to anger you.
Bears, Patriots.
Yeah, I don't know if you saw the end of the Patriots-Titans game. Drake May had this crazy touchdown pass where he kind of ran all around the field and eventually threw a short touchdown pass to tie it in overtime. Then he threw an interception in overtime, and Tennessee won by a field goal. But May played, pretty good. The Bears, like we talked about at the beginning, just dreadful effort. Their offense stunk. Their defense stunk. Their special teams weren't anything to shout about. Their coaching was boneheaded. They're almost a touchdown favorite at home at Soldier Field. 6.5, is that what you show?
Yes.
Yep. So I know you're gonna be mad at me if I go in a certain direction. If I go in a certain direction. So what do you think is gonna happen? And tell me a little, what's gonna get them out of this hole they're in?
Drake May's just going to throw a bunch of interceptions
that would be
the
nice.
last time.
I would like to see that.
And Caleb Williams is just going to throw the ball down the field and score.
Okay.
I hope. I really
I hope that that's exactly how it plays out, and I hope they get right. This is a game to get right. The Patriots stink.
I'm picking Bears on this one, like I just said, I think.
Okay.
28-14.
Okay, I'm gonna tell you, when I was thinking about who I would pick in this game, I did a lot of the games on Monday. I wrote down a score. I didn't write down a score for the Bears game on Monday because I wanted to think about it some more. I wanted to really think and say, are you really going to do this? Do you really think that the Patriots are going to come into Soldier Field and beat the Bears?
No.
And I decided that the answer, not only in my heart but in my head, is no. So I went Bears 20, Patriots 19.
Good.
So I think it's going to be close. I think it's going to be kind of embarrassing. I think fans might boo because they're not playing that well.
But they will win.
That's what I think is going to happen. So,
gosh, I hope they win that game.
Okay, and I do too. And there are three teams with
How are the Chargers having a better record than the Bears?
Yeah, I don't know. They've had kind of an easy schedule, but so have the Bears. Actually, Bears haven't even played any of the division teams yet. So, well, let's talk about who's playing the Chargers this week.
Titans.
Yeah.
Chargers, Titans.
So Mason Rudolph led the game-winning drive against New England, and now the Titans have a whole 2 wins against 7 losses. And as for Los Angeles,
it shows 2-6.
Oh, okay. Yeah, they must have had their bye week
Check
already.
for
You're
seven.
right. They are 2-6. Yep, because they've had their bye week. LA, they had an easy win against Cleveland, even though I saw in the highlights, Justin Herbert was sacked 6 times just in the first half against the Browns.
Are the Chiefs supposed to be 8-0 now?
Now they're 8-0, yeah. That Monday night game, they're never right. So Tampa Bay, too, you could add a loss to. All the other scores are right for the teams, though, or all the other records. Okay, so I touched on the Titans. We talked about the Chargers. They're now in second place in the AFC and would be a playoff team if the season ended here today. So the Chargers are big home favorites, 7.5, in what they expect to be the lowest scoring game of the week. What do you think's going to happen in LA?
Okay. I'm picking LA because I don't pick the Titans.
No, it's hard to pick the Titans with their quarterback combo of Rudolph and Levis.
Yeah. Chargers 21, Titans 17.
I'm going to have it not quite as close as you, but let's go Chargers 20, Titans 13, with the Titans still covering the 7.5 point spread.
Okay.
Second game in the 3 o'clock window.
Here's not the best game.
No, and it might be a little worse when I tell you something.
Is Dak Prescott hurt?
Wow, what a guess. He got put on injured reserve. Was that a guess or did you know?
Oh no, that was a guess.
Oh, you're right. Because he hurt, I think it was his hamstring, which is kind of behind his leg, I guess. He pulled his hamstring. They said you can't come back into the Falcons game. He didn't. And then they weren't sure how bad it would be, but when you get put on injured reserve, it tells us we know he's going to miss at least 4 games. So Dallas is. Did we say the game? I don't even know if we did.
Oh no, Eagles Cowboys.
Eagles Cowboys. Yeah, we got just rambling about Dak Prescott's injury, but Philly let Jacksonville hang around, but they beat them, and they're now 6-2.
They're doing pretty good.
6-2, right on the heels of those 7-2 Commanders. Dallas reeling, 3-5. Dak out 4 games. Their backup quarterback is Cooper Rush. He's going to get put right into the games.
Is he good?
Well, he's a backup for a reason. I wouldn't say he's the worst backup in the league, but he's not as good as Dak Prescott, and I wouldn't say he'd be the starting quarterback for any team in the league.
Ever?
Well, I mean, this year. Maybe if you put him on Carolina, you could say, well, maybe he could start, but he's not a good player. I don't think.
I'm picking Eagles because I just switched my score.
Yeah, I'm gonna pick the Eagles too.
31-21.
Okay, I've got the Eagles covering the spread. I took a weird score because I think that the Eagles are the kind of team that'll go for a 2-point conversion every once in a while, and then the scores get a little off. So I'm gonna say Philadelphia 29, Dallas 15, just to be a little different. Okay, here's a game. I don't know. Intriguing, but not the best game of the week.
Carolina Jets.
You got it.
Cardinals Jets.
Cardinals Jet, the Red Bird. The Red Bird. Okay, the Jets had a bad first half. The fans were booing them off the field against the Texans.
But then they won.
Then they won, and they got to 3-6, and I guess their playoff hopes are still kind of, sort of alive. If you look at those teams like the Broncos and Chargers that could maybe fall out of the playoff mix in the AFC. Arizona, after just pummeling the Bears, are now alone atop the NFC West standings at 5-4. And then you got the Niners and Rams at 4-4, and the Seahawks are 4-5. So all those NFC West teams are within 1 game of each other. Pretty tight. I don't know, the Cardinals impressed me on Sunday, but then again, the Bears stunk up the joint. So, what do you see happening?
I'm picking Cardinals, 1-point win.
I got a 3-point win.
Cardinals 21, Jets 20.
Well, I've got the Jets with 20 points as well, but I'm giving the Cardinals 23. So I think Kyler Murray might be a little more tested than he was against the Bears because all he had to do was pretty much show up and hand off against the Bears on Sunday. I think he's going to have to throw the ball, but I think he's going to make some plays. Okay, Sunday Nitro. This looks like a really good game. Good game between 2 first-place teams.
Lions Texans.
Okay, the Lions sometimes get a bad rap. All indoor teams sometimes get the reputation of you can't play outside. You know, you're an indoor team, you put them out on a grass field and the elements, the wind, they're going to stink. Well, this Lions team in the rain at Lambeau Field put a beat down on the Packers. They were up 24-6 and ended up winning 24-14. And they looked good doing it. I heard a statistic, and I don't know the exact numbers, but it's like the last 4 games, the Lions have more touchdowns than Jared Goff has thrown incomplete passes. They have more touchdowns than incomplete passes.
So that's a really good
That's
thing.
amazing. Yeah, like no team had done that in 90 years.
Who was the last time?
I couldn't even tell you who did it 90 years ago. But it's crazy to think that, I mean, it's possible that maybe it never happened and they only have stats back 90 years. But that's
amazing.
It's amazing how well the Lions are playing right now. And they traded for somebody. Are you giving yourself a clap?
For the Lions.
For the Lions? Yeah, you know what? I'm feeling like if the Bears season goes sideways, it's time to just cheer on the Lions. Because they're a fun,
I like the Lions.
they're a fun team. Even though they're a division rival, they have been the red-headed stepchild of the NFC North for so long that I think I can get behind them. If the train falls off the track for the Bears.
And the Lions haven't even won a Super Bowl.
Ever. They've never been. They've never even been.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I know. And the thing about the Lions and playing outdoor games, they only have to play 3 games outside all year.
Oh.
Packers
so...
was the first, and then they'll play the Bears in Chicago, and then they play San Francisco.
Oh.
So every other game is going to be inside for the Lions. Maybe until the playoffs, but we'll see.
Okay.
Houston might have Nico Collins back, which will be huge for Stroud.
Big upgrade.
It'd be huge for Stroud because, I mean, they lost to the Jets, so they're kind of struggling. The Texans are lucky in that they are in a crummy division. Like the Colts, the Jags, the Titans, they're not going to pressure them. You know, they're not going to give them a run for first place. So I don't feel like the Texans have anything to worry about.
And they're in first place in their division.
Right, and I think they're in pretty good shape to end the year in first place in that division. But this week, they've got a tall task. Lions are 3-point favorites in Houston, in H-Town. What do you feel like is going to happen?
They have a 1-point win, so a close game.
Yeah, real close.
Lions 21, Texans 20.
Nice. I thought you'd pick your Super Bowl team. And they're still my NFC pick from the Super Bowl, so we don't have to talk about my AFC pick. Oof. Detroit 30, Texans 23. And now the Monday night game. If your mom sees us, we have one more. One game warning. Okay.
She sees us.
Who plays on Monday?
Use your AFC Super Bowl.
Yeah.
I guess we do have to talk.
I guess we do. Oops.
Dolphins, Rams.
Yeah, the Dolphins, they fought hard, but they fell to 2-6 after their loss at Buffalo. And they're 0-2 since Tua came back. So Tua was supposed to be kind of the straw that stirs that drink, and they're still not winning games.
Yeah.
The Rams, gutty victory in overtime against Seattle. I don't know if you saw how that one ended, but another game went to overtime. Geno Smith drives the Seahawks down the field. They get to 4th down. They could have kicked a field goal, but the Rams would get the ball back. They instead went for the 4th down. Rams stopped them. And in like 3 passes, Stafford, just 3 beautiful dimes. 39-yarder to Demarcus Robinson wins it in overtime on a touchdown.
Wow.
And the Rams, that was a big game because now they're just a half game back of the Cardinals for the lead in the NFC West.
Okay.
So, Rams 2.5-point favorites in LA.
Yeah, 2.5.
How do you see this one shaking out?
I have a pretty close game.
I have a 1-point game.
Me too.
That's as close as you can get, unless you predict a tie. So
Which is really hard to go.
ties are very rare. There's been 0 ties in the NFL this entire season. So there's probably about one a year, I would
A
guess.
tie is like 5 overtimes, right?
They only go 1 overtime in the NFL in the regular season.
Oh.
5 quarters. They pretty much play 5 quarters. So you would play like 4 quarters and then 1 10-minute extra quarter during the regular season. In the playoffs, they could play forever.
Has there ever been a tie ever in the NFL?
Yeah. Like I say, they happen about once a year. And actually, back in the 70s, I don't think they went to overtime. They would just call if it was tied at the end of 4 quarters, they would just call it a tie. They wouldn't even try overtime until the playoffs. And then obviously you have to find a winner in the playoffs. So I think the longest game maybe went like 2.5 quarters extra or something like that. Just a lot of extra time. But we both say we've got 1-point wins. Who do you see winning this one?
Rams
Score?
21-20.
I got Rams 27-26. I think it's just going to be like if it's not the dagger yet in the heart of the Dolphins, I think this one might be it. 4 teams have bye weeks. Let's see. It's Las Vegas, who were blown out by your Cincinnati Bengals. And then they fired their offensive coach, who used to be the Bears' offensive coach, who they fired last year. So this guy's been fired by 2 teams in like 10 games. Luke Getsy.
Not that good.
Not good, Luke. Seattle, Geno Smith had a really bad pick 6. Like it was 103 yards. It went from one end zone all the way to the other.
Wow.
Fought back, but lost in overtime to the Rams, like we said. Green Bay, speaking of pick 6, did you see Jordan Love's awful pick 6 against the Lions near the end of the half?
No.
Oh, it was in the rain, and he just kind of like, he was getting tackled, and he just threw it to nobody, it looked like, right into a Lion's hands. Touchdown. It was pretty sweet. And it really turned the game, too. It was only 10-3 at that point. That just turned it to 17-3 right before halftime.
Wow.
The other team with the bye is Cleveland. I don't know, I was thinking about Jameis Winston magic last week. Jameis Winston was terrible. He was an interception machine against the Chargers.
Yep.
Yeah, so I don't think I'm going to believe in Cleveland anytime soon. Well, that's our program for the day. What do you think about your picks today?
Not the best.
Yeah, we had a lot of the same, I feel like.
Pretty good.
Yeah, maybe you can make up a little bit of ground and catch me, because I built that 5-game lead on you now.
Mm-hmm.
So we had fun this week. Glad to talk about some football with you once again, as always. Thanks for watching, folks. See you again next week. Bye-bye.
Bye.
No flip of the page? No.
Oh, yeah.